Thank you for enrolling in this Revenue Operations training course on the Valet Overnight Revenue process. In this module, you will learn all steps necessary to accurately track, control, and ultimately collect the revenue generated from hotel guests staying at our clients' properties. Overnight revenue control starts with ticket accountability. As with all valet activity, we track our tickets with the ticket inventory log. At the beginning of every shift, the departing GSE or cashier will assign the overnight tickets to the incoming GSE. The incoming GSE will list the beginning ticket number and the ending stack number on the ticket log. The beginning ticket number is the next available ticket for use, and the ending stack number is the last ticket in the current ticket book. Both GSEs will sign off, and this process repeats at the end of the next shift. The departing GSE will list their ending ticket number and do the math to determine how many tickets were issued during their shift. Both GSEs sign off on this, and the process continues. All tickets must be used in sequential order. This is the key to maintaining accountability. This is true during a shift, and also there should never be a gap between shifts or between days. Town park tickets have been optimally designed from years of experience. It is critical that you fill out all fields and all sections of a ticket. From a revenue perspective, the guest's first and last name, their room number, and their checkout date are the key pieces of information. Do not abbreviate, and make sure that your handwriting is neat and legible. The conversation you have with the guest when they first arrive drives your ability to collect revenue. We can only charge parking fees to guests we can identify in the hotel's property management system. When we park a vehicle for a guest we cannot identify, this is called a hot car. It is critical that you do all you can to prevent hot cars, as this puts our revenue at risk. You can prevent hot cars by asking the right question about the guest name. Ask for the name the reservation is registered under, rather than just the name of the person you're speaking to. They're not always the same. Get first names, especially common last names like Smith or Miller or Jones. Make sure your writing is neat and legible so that the people using your ticket information will know exactly what you meant. And fill out all sections of the ticket every time. A key term in revenue operations is a source document. This is the document that determines how much revenue we either earned or collected during a given day. For overnight valet revenue, the source document is the Valet Overnight Ticket Log. It has two components which are usually listed on two different pages. The New Arrival Ticket Log, sometimes referred to as the VO log, documents all newly issued overnight tickets. These are tickets that are issued to new check-ins. The Stayover Log, sometimes referred to as the VOS log, lists all overnight tickets that stayed over from a previous day. These are cars which were parked when the day began, that are still parked when the day is over. It is critical that the VO log be completed accurately for every single ticket used during the day. The first ticket number is always the starting ticket number from the ticket inventory log, and then every ticket thereafter must be listed in sequence, regardless of whether the ticket went missing or voided or any other circumstances. All tickets in the sequence must be listed on the log, and if they're not used for a hotel guest, an explanation must be written down. Once a vehicle is parked, make sure to fill out the ticket log before hanging the keys, and be sure to put as much information as there is available at the time. When a guest first checks in, they may not have a room number yet. The GSE or cashier on duty should attempt to update the VO log throughout the day for room number, checkout date, and parking rate. This can be done through the hotel property management system if we have access, or if not, through reports printed by the front desk. The Stayover log is made each day during the overnight shift, after the hotel changes the date in the hotel's property management system. It is basically created from the previous day's work of the combined new arrival and stayover logs, the VO and VOS logs. Essentially, you are taking all cars from the previous day and just deleting any which are checked out. If your logs are done on a computer in Excel, you can literally copy and paste them to a new day and just delete the checkouts. This is why the checkout date field is so critical. If your logs are handwritten, you can make a photocopy of the previous day and draw a strike-through line through any cars that are checked out, through voids and missing tickets, or any other vehicles that are no longer on site. Hot cars stay on the log at all times until they depart. If you're using handwritten logs, you will need to keep making photocopies of all previous days until the last car on each page is departed. This process is much simpler in Excel, and and we would encourage you to use it. If you have a valet point-of-sale system, the overnight ticket logs are made automatically by the system. Scanning in a ticket and entering the guest information is essentially the same process as writing it on the logs. For this reason, it is critical that you enter the data accurately, just as you would accurately write it on the logs. Town park locations use a variety of valet systems, but our preferred vendors are either Flash Valet or CVPS. Each system has its own report names for the overnight ticket logs, but the data is mostly the same, and the process is always the same. Each night we use the overnight ticket logs to ensure that we collect revenue on every single car that we park. Town Park's terminology for this process is the overnight scrub. The scrub is a three-step process. The pre-scrub happens before the hotel changes the date in the property management system. The actual posting of revenue happens during that date change process, and then the final scrub is done by management the following morning. The pre-scrub is designed to be completed before the dates change to ensure that all postings are set up for success. There are two parts to the pre-scrub. The keyboard scrub is first, and the keyboard scrub ensures that the VO and VOS logs accurately depict all of the keys that are hung on the board. Once we know that those logs are accurate, we scrub them against the hotel reports which show what guests are scheduled to be charged that evening. The goal is that all keys are going to be scheduled to be charged. When conducting a keyboard scrub, there are two steps. First, the keys on the board are checked against the logs. All keys that are hung on the board should be written down on the logs so that we have the opportunity to collect revenue on them. Once this is done, it is important to check the opposite to make sure that any keys that are on the logs are still on the board. If they're not, then the valet who is conducting the scrub must delete them from the logs. It is critical that this keyboard scrub takes place late enough in the evening that minimal valet activity is expected thereafter, so that the logs will remain as accurate as possible. Once the keyboard scrub has been completed, and we are confident that the VO and VOS logs accurately depict the inventory of keys on the board, we're then able to conduct a hotel report scrub. This report from your hotel front desk will show all of the guests that are scheduled to be charged for parking that evening. Compare the VO and VOS logs against that report to ensure that everyone on the VOS log is scheduled to be charged. If you identify any guests during your hotel report scrub who are definitely parked with us but not set to be charged that evening, it is critical that you research such discrepancies before the date changes in the hotel property management system. This can be done directly if we have access to that system, or it can be done by working with the overnight front office agent or night auditor from the hotel. In either case, we must resolve all such vehicles before the date rolls to ensure that these guests are charged correctly. Typically, those situations happen where either we have incorrect information on our ticket logs, or the front office agent who checked the guest in did not add the charge correctly. If that happens consistently, report this information to your manager so that they can follow up with the front office manager for training and to help ensure this is resolved. Generally, parking charges are billed to guest room bills through the hotel's front desk computer system, which is commonly known as a property management system, or PMS. Different sites allow Town Park different levels of access to the PMS. Sometimes we're able to post charges ourselves. Sometimes we need to give that information to our front office partners. If your hotel has access to the PMS system, see your front office manager or district manager for site-specific training on your hotel system. Generally, the systems that are used in the field are OnQ for Hilton hotels, the Marriott PMS for Marriott-branded hotels, Galaxy, which is sometimes known as Lightspeed, for Starwood-branded hotels, and Opera for most other hotel companies. There are two methods of posting parking charges to guest room bills. The most common of these processes is through auto-posting. In a hotel that uses auto-posting, the charges automatically are billed to the guest room each night when the room rate charges during the hotel's night audit process. Generally, auto-posting is driven by special service codes being added to the guest's bill by the front desk during the check-in process. These special service codes are sometimes referred to as fixed charges, auto-posting, specials codes. Depends on the hotel that you're working with, but generally there are multiple codes at each property for different parking rates, different parking types, packages, etc. The Specials Code report, or a report that shows all of the people that are scheduled to be charged, is what is used in your hotel pre-scrub before the date is changed by the property. Some hotels choose to not use the auto-posting process and instead manually post parking charges one by one. In some cases, town park staff does this ourselves during the overnight process. In some cases, we provide our VO and VOS logs to the hotel night auditor to do this for us. In a manual posting environment, charge codes are used for posting rather than special service codes which were used to set up auto-posting. A charge code report shows postings that have actually happened rather than charges that are scheduled to occur. In general, our hotel partners have the ability to comp, to discount, or to offer parking charges as part of a room package at their discretion. It is critical that we keep track of these vehicles so that we can bill back for them if that's the case for our contracted terms at that site, but more importantly for revenue operations to ensure that we've accounted for all of our cars. Some hotels have special service codes for comp or discounted parking, which provides helpful information for keeping track of the revenue. Other hotels simply don't charge guests if they have complimentary parking, or they might post multiple rates under the same parking code. This requires more auditing and investigation during your pre-scrub and during the final scrub. Parking packages are what happens when the hotel includes the parking charge as part of the room rate. Internally, some hotels automatically allocate a portion of the room rate to parking revenue, whereas other hotels do not. This is varied depending on your property, and your front office manager will be able to help you navigate this process. The hotel posting report is a critical component in the overnight posting process. It is the source document for how much revenue we actually collected. Any charges that are not listed on the hotel posting report were not paid for by hotel guests. Hence, this document is critical. Generally, the hotel posting report is broken down by charge code, showing all parking fees in their various market segments. Depending on your brand of hotel system, the hotel posting report has different names. In Hilton hotels, the report is called the Account Detail Report. In Starwood hotels, it's called the Detailed Ticket Report. In Marriott hotels, it's called the Profit Center Detail Report. And in Hyatt hotels and most other brands of hotels using Opera, the report is called the Journal by Cashier and Transaction Code. Those reports are critical, and they're our final document of payment for all charges from that day. The final scrub happens the following morning by the account manager or the site auditor. The hotel posting report is collected from the front office and compared one last time to the VO and VOS logs. At this point, every car that was in inventory on the overnight shift, which is defined by the VO and VOS logs, should have been posted on the hotel posting report. If not, these cars are to become hot cars. One final check by the account manager, either directly in the PMS system if they have access, or if not, by having a conversation with the front office team, should identify some of the remaining hot cars. If that's the case, that guest information can be posted at that time, and those charges updated on the VO and VOS logs to reflect it. Any remaining final cars that are still not posted are to become hot cars and follow the hot car process. Don't forget to update the rate and the posted and the posting code columns on the Valet Overnight Ticket Log. This information will be helpful for the account manager to complete their daily reconciliation. Even though the final scrub is handled by the account manager or site auditor the following morning, the overnight shift still has work to do in the hot car process. As we stated earlier, hot cars are those cars which we're not able to collect revenue on. It is critical that when those customers come down for their vehicles that we be able to have a conversation with the guests to ensure that we collect payment. To make this happen and make it more obvious for the staff the following day, the overnight shift will tag all of the hot car keys with a hot car tag. These pink tags have information on the front and back as seen in the picture, and it is important that all of that information that is available is filled out. Once the ticket information is on the hot car tag is hung on the key ring and put back on the board. The final step in the overnight revenue process is to complete a hot car tracking sheet. The hot car tracking sheet is a log of all hot car activity, showing all vehicles which were hot as well as what happened to them. It is critical that the overnight shift complete this log for all tickets where they added a hot car tag, as well as all hot car tags that were already present on the board when they started their shift. Every single car that's tagged with the pink tag should be on the hot car tracking sheet. For each entry, complete the first half of the page showing the ticket number, the number of days, the daily rate, and the current ticket value, as well as the guest name and room number if known. Total up that information at the bottom of the page and leave the sheet for the morning shift. During each shift during the day, hot car guests will come down and resolve payment, and the frontline staff will use the hot car tracking sheet to keep track of this information. If you're resolving a hot car, you're going to collect payment from the guest either in cash or credit card, or find out their room number and arrange for the charge to be billed to their room. In any of those cases, collect a receipt either from the point of sale system or from the PMS system showing payment has been completed, staple the pink tag to that receipt, and have the GSC include that information in their daily shift work. You have now completed the overnight valet posting process training module. We have covered the issuing of tickets to overnight guests, the use of the valet overnight ticket log, the scrub process including the pre-scrub, the posting process, and the final scrub, as well as hot car tracking and hot car payment collection. If you follow these procedures at your site, you will ensure full capture of all of our overnight valet revenue. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact your local revenue operations manager or your district manager. Thank you very much for your participation in the training program.